Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account and it says, am I the arsehole here for giving a silly gift to my mother-in-law? So, my boyfriend, male 36, and I, female 34, have been together a little over a year. His mother is cordial with me. I've been at family events and her sons, 7 in all, curse and whatnot, and I am a theatre gal and military brat, so when I saw her being okay with the kids cursing, I thought it was all Gucci. It was not, in fact, Gucci. I wanted her to feel special this past Mother's Day, as my boyfriend is terrible with gifts. He told me straight up. He told me earlier this year he was stressing about what to give her. I suggested I help, as gift giving is a love language of mine, and I'm usually very successful with a budget. I got her a cookbook set, but it's silly. And the reason behind it? Sillier. She once complained to me at my boyfriend's party for his birthday, saying she had too many mushrooms. She didn't know what the heck to do with them all. We all laughed as she joked about it, if people would think she's trying to push mushrooms or mushrooms on them, as she's given them away to friends and family, if you catch my drift. I found it funny, and when my boyfriend asked for help, I suggested a cookbook I found on Amazon. The title, "Oh shit, I have too many mushrooms." It's part of a series replacing the key ingredient with onions, etc. My boyfriend thought it was hilarious, and it tied into that memory of his mum and I bonding over laughter. So I got the whole series, onions, tomatoes, the whole thing, along with flowers, a painting of a cat I did myself, loose leaf teas, and more. We didn't get to be with her on the day itself. I had COVID, and he wasn't feeling well either. We found out later he got the flu. So he didn't go to dinner, so his brother picked up the gift and brought it. She called that night, and when he came back to the guest room, where I was sleeping until I feel better, he says she is pissed. That I am immoral and making a mockery of her love of cooking and making it profane and vulgar. I called her immediately to apologize, but she didn't answer that or my texts. It's June now, and she finally texted me on the 1st, stating simply that she accepts my apology, but that I am on thin ice and to just be good to her son so she can forgive me. I showed him the text and he was very confused by this. Well, today I got a call from his dad. Father's Day is coming up, and he told me he didn't want me pulling that classless shit on him, and if I can't tell if it's classless, to simply forego the gift giving and provide a gift card to his favorite restaurant. I just purchased the gift card, but am I really so terrible? They are Catholic, but they accepted me as a pansexual agnostic woman dating their son. I've heard shit said and other curse words, and honestly way worse stuff, so I'm unsure where and when I crossed the line. My boyfriend's brother joked I should post here, so am I the arsehole? In the comments, Revolution Rose says she's not really offended, or she had been offended every other time she's heard bad language. She's using it as an excuse to be judgmental towards you. So give the most innocuous generic gifts from here on out. Always from both of you, never just you. But here's the kicker. The next time any of them curse in front of you both, you have to act genuinely freaked out. Say, "Oh no, stop that foul language in front of your mother." Your mum is deeply offended by filthy language and doesn't allow it in her presence. Isn't that right, Mary? And look at her to back you up. Make sure this is loud, make a scene, but be as genuine as possible, not sarcastic, because you are very concerned. When this person is obviously completely confused and is like, "What are you talking about?" Double down. Mary made it clear that she finds filthy language deeply offensive. As guests in a house, we should respect her wishes. Isn't that correct, Mary? Again, you have to be genuine and not sarcastic. She will be increasingly embarrassed as she is on the spot. If she says, "Well, really, it's not a big deal," be puzzled. "But you were so upset when I sent that book with a curse word. You said it was filthy language and wouldn't speak to me." Let her swing from the rope she tied. Carby Not a Barbie says, not the arsehole. I would have thought it hilarious. However, they may just be super uptight and want that super religious image, and let their sons get away with profanity. but not a lady. Gasp/sarcasm. I had a back and forth relationship with my mother-in-law that was at times super difficult. She was a passive-aggressive sort. I'm sorry they didn't have a sense of humor. My parents are rather old-fashioned, but one Easter I brought the game Cards Against Humanity up to play when the kids were all in bed, and my brothers, sisters and spouses were all there. My dad was upset with me about that filthy game, but we never laughed so hard in our lives. It literally hurt to hide Easter eggs for the little ones because our sides hurt from laughing so hard. Here's the kicker. Our parents each won. None of us kids did. The hollering and hooting and my grown nephew's mortification at passing that card to grandma. It was a good time. Moral of the story, don't gift him Cards Against Humanity. Save the sense of humor for your family. Celis says, you're the arsehole. She was the center of attention. You and your husband couldn't be there. The joke turned on one time when she was flustered and not in control of her kitchen thing, and you remotely made fun of her. You meant it to be charmingly informal and fun, but in those circumstances it come off as crude and disrespectful. I have to say that I'd have trouble caring about being on thin ice too, but that sounds like she's trying to acknowledge her hurt feelings without being a hard ass. Maybe add some flowers to the Father's Day gift, so they can both enjoy the dinner out and she gets an extra acknowledgement. Not for me, I'm afraid. I wouldn't entertain that bullshit. I mean, it sounded like a thoughtful gift from my perspective. It sounds like you really thought about it. You created something handmade for her as well. The tea, it just sounded like a lovely package that you got her. Really thoughtful. And it did feel to me it was just something that they wanted to moan about, something they wanted to turn on you. It just sounded like a really odd reaction. But Opie comes in with her first update and says, I wanted to be optimistic about Father's Day as I followed directions and just got him a $50 gift card to a restaurant chain he really likes. I went to the Father's Day dinner and simply didn't say much. I even ignored the jabs my boyfriend's mum kept making at me, such as when my boyfriend's sister-in-law, who works in the service industry, mentioned very rude customers, and mother-in-law mentioned that when you deal with classless losers, it's best to just let them be, and be grateful they're not in the family, while looking right at me. In that moment, I actually sipped my drink and pretended to contemplate the menu. I was on my best behavior, or at least I felt I was, all night. When it was time for gift opening, we went with my boyfriend's plan and just combined our gifts in one bag. As his dad went through the gifts, he saw the gift card and snorted and just looked at me, then pulled out a book and wallet, which he hailed as amazingly thoughtful gifts and thanked my boyfriend for not taking the lazy way out. That was when my boyfriend said, actually the gift card is from me. The book is because Opie remembered your favorite series and the wallet we both paid for. A white lie is I got the gift card and bought the book a while ago and boyfriend got the wallet, but I did help him pay for the inscription. His dad ignored that and moved on to other gifts, but when we were all dispersing, the brothers and their partners wanted to keep the party going, and my boyfriend wanted to as well. We said our goodbyes in the parking lot as I went to our car not far off and switched from my heels to my flats as we were going to walk to the bar about a block off. Mother-in-law saw me doing this and asked me why I was changing my shoes. I just said I didn't want to damage my nice heels. I got a shake of the head in response and she said, so now you can't even afford shoes. Are you okay? To which my boyfriend cut in and said I was fine, but we're all walking to the bar to catch up with one another. I don't know how, but it then became my fault the group wanted to go to a bar and not stay and drink with the parents. She made it seem like I talked everyone into ditching early and how disrespectful I was not speaking at all during dinner. She claims I ignored her a lot and that I looked angry. To which the kids all spoke up to set the record straight, that I didn't even know about the group going to the bar until father-in-law had already said he had movie tickets to Ballerina and had to go, and that I seemed perfectly fine all day and not angry, as she seemed to think I was. At this point, I just went with some of the brothers' partners to the bar while mother-in-law had it out with her sons. By the time they caught up with us, my boyfriend was clearly upset but didn't say anything, and the mood lifted as we drank and laughed together. But when we got home and I asked how it went, he just said he didn't want to talk about it right now and sat down to play video games. Maybe I'm crazy, but he just seems so defeated. I got a voicemail from father-in-law that just said thank you for the gifts and he rambled a bit, something to the effect of, we don't really think that way. Sorry for the misunderstanding. I gave boyfriend space for the rest of the night and I work early, so I left before he woke this morning. I'm sort of dreading getting home to ask what that was about, but I already know it's nothing good. Boyfriend has something of a social media business and won't be out until 7:30 today, so I'm biding my time at a nearby restaurant until he's done. I'm not looking forward to this talk. Send positive thoughts. And there is another update in a moment, but Living Inspection says not the arsehole. I suggest you and boyfriend read Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Gibson. I listened to that audiobook a little while back. It's actually really interesting. Suggest you do listen if you have time. And one more comment from Apprehensive War, who says not the arsehole. Girl, your boyfriend's parents are manipulating you. The mother lashed out at you for no reason, and then the father has doubled and tripled down. They're consistently making digs and insulting you and putting you on the defensive. If they were truly upset, you've already apologized. Classy people accept apologies when they are offered sincerely, and don't threaten people with thin ice. Look at how your emotions and actions have been affected and how your behavior has changed. You went out of your way to give the father-in-law exactly what he asked for. You have repeatedly apologized. You tried to behave yourself at the restaurant. Making yourself small for other people will never accomplish anything but to keep you down. And that is what they want. The mother-in-law has decided that you're going to be the new target and they're going to beat you over the head until you're either so cowed by fear of upsetting them and hurting your partner that your entire personality has been altered, or you give up and you leave. You need to recognize this first, and then your partner needs to recognize what's happening, because if he doesn't, I'm afraid that you're going to continue to suffer because no one is calling them on their bullshit. And OP's latest update says, edit. Had to name people because there's a lot of back and forth. I really don't understand. I talked with my boyfriend Ben last night. He was much calmer but still upset. At first I thought he was upset with me, but it was the situation tail-spinning out of control. He started with apologizing for his parents' behavior, saying this is not how he was raised and he's never seen his parents act like this before. But he can't ignore that reality. The reality is they just don't like me. I asked why and he got really quiet, and I asked if, as some comments suspected, it was because I am not white. That's when he told me what happened. Significant others of all the brothers all got around me and started to defend me. The brothers got in between and the eldest, Derek, told us to just go to the bar. So we did. Derek's wife, Crystal, told him to deal with his parents or they will, which pissed mother-in-law off, and she apparently screamed at us to come back, but we didn't, obviously. Once we left, Derek asked what the big deal is and why mother-in-law and father-in-law are bullying me. She tried to Uno reverse it into a narrative that I was actually the one bullying her, and father-in-law was just defending his wife like a man. Exact wording, remember that, so to leave him alone. Ben said her treatment of me was unfair and without any reason, and he lists off a couple of glaring occasions, but it wasn't until Derek mentioned that it all started happening since our 6-month anniversary. The other brothers are chiming in, and Ben said that's when he realized what was going on. His mother made some off-color comment to him over the phone about how surprised she is we lasted so long, and he joked he was going to marry me someday. She called him childish and basically scolding him for using marriage so flippant. He thought it was just a religious thing at the time. But then mother-in-law said the words, "You know, those people are promiscuous. You need to watch yourself." And everyone pretty much exploded, who is those people and what does she mean? Mother-in-law turned on Waterworks and said she was just looking after her baby boy. Ben is the youngest, and Ben shut it down, telling her that the only way she could look out for him is to support him and I and be happy he found someone. He told her that she better apologize to me because what happens is up to her now, and he needs to defend his partner like a man, and then he walks away. Derek later told him he stayed back to tell mother-in-law that if Ben and I decide they don't want to deal with her anymore, he wouldn't blame them, and he asked his dad to take her home. That's the lean version, because from there it's a lot of accounts of who said what, when and what not, and I wasn't there. What Ben tells me is that it's really up to me on how to proceed. He's willing to go low contact for a while and see if behavior changes. But if I really want, we can just not go to family events anymore and spend time with my family instead. He just asks that he's still able to call or text them on their birthdays, of which his mother's is this summer. I told him I need to think about it because of the text his father-in-law sent, and he asked which text, so I showed it to him. He just stared at it like, that sounds like they're admitting to something. And I said I have guesses, and he just looked angry. He then said the text wasn't even a real apology, so they have to do better than that. We just end up re-watching Great North and drinking together before going to sleep. I'll have to figure out what to do later, but I have a big meeting today, so I'm going to try and focus on that for now. And that was OP's last update at the moment, but now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, Am I the Arsehole for threatening to file a police report on my ex and getting her former cop father involved? Over Black Friday, I bought 2 games, Mario Kart 8 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, but due to an Amazon mix-up, it was mistakenly sent to my ex's. A few days ago, she let me know a package for me arrived. I apologized for the mix-up and asked her to forward it to me when she gets the chance. She was a-okay about it and promised to send it by the end of the week. I got the package, but the one game was missing. Hey, I didn't see Final Fantasy VII here. Is that coming separate? She replied, Nope, you get to buy that over. I replied, Okay, but really, is it in a separate package? She said, Nope, it's my tax for helping you. I replied, Oh, okay, all jokes aside, you're sending it, right? Followed by utter silence. Then I said again, Hello, you are sending it, right? I got a phone call, and she asks if I'm mad. I said I will be if she's serious. She gets defensive and sleazy about trying to keep the game. I'm trying my hardest to reason with a 30-year-old woman about what stealing is, and I've reached my limit. Her father is a great man and still keeps a good relationship with me, and he unfortunately needs to act as a moral compass sometimes. So I say, do I really need to get your father involved for you to do the right thing, like I'm dealing with a 14-year-old? She replied saying, You wouldn't dare get my father involved in this. I hung up within a second and called her father. Poor guy was pleasant as a peach, happy to hear from me, asking how the winter is treating us in PA, and I had to cut through pleasantries to let him know his daughter just committed a federal crime, opened up mail addressed to me, and stole parts of its contents. The man is a former cop. His tone grows low and defeated, and he tells me he'll talk to her. I apologize for dragging him into this and promise to catch up later. While waiting for her to call me back, I filled out the police report but didn't submit it. She calls and in a typical fashion starts playing the victim. God, if you're gonna make such a big deal over your stupid precious fucking video game, I guess I'll send it to you. I reply saying, Nuh-uh, you're not gonna make me the bad guy for being upset over you opening my mail and stealing from me. Not happening. She said, Fine, I'll send it to you, only if you apologize for inconveniencing me. I go full my father mode and yell, Get fucked. You either send it to me or I press send on this police report. She panicked and relented. So, was dragging her father in and going nuclear the wrong thing? Could I have handled this better? I'm sure, though I'm holding back a lot of emotions here. Did I get threatening too quick? Thanks if you made it through this disaster. Hopefully it was worth your time. Edit. Thank you for all your support and input to address some common concerns. Yes, I deleted the Amazon address data. The external site I went through defaulted the old address for some reason. Never has done it before. I offered to pay postage as we live very far away now, PA and Maine, but she wanted $30 for the return, which wasn't happening. Upon retrospection, going straight to the authorities would still have gotten her father involved, since he lives with him, and he basically handles all her adult responsibilities. Therefore, the Am I the Arsehole is more or less, should I submit a police report or let it be? Which one would make me the arsehole? I'm sorry, I type like I'm writing a book report. It's a habit. I promise I'm not Patrick Bateman. Don't be mean to me on that account. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. Sometimes you gotta use the tools that are available to you. She wasn't gonna give it to you back in any other way. You knew the dad would act on this. absolutely the right thing to do, and ultimately, you did her a favor because you didn't report her in the end to the police, which she'd have gotten a lot more shit than a little telling off from her dad. But a commenter says not the arsehole. Honestly, sometimes the only thing you can do to check an adult is get their parents involved. I think you handled this about as best as you could given the situation. You did her a favor by not actually reporting the crimes. Opie says I felt likewise. Believe it or not, I was more concerned for her dad's reputation. It wouldn't look good if a former cop's daughter was caught in a federal crime and theft, and admitted to it. Still have the text and voicemail. Someone asks how old they are. Opie says, I'm 35, she's 30. We were happily married for 3 years. And once we moved to Maine, it was like my wife died and was replaced with some unholy demon. Imagine all of your worst qualities, the meh to the ignorable ones, all being dialed up to 11 overnight. That's what happened to her. I have a theory about it, but I don't want to get too personal. And someone says about why the failed marriage. Opie says, yep, this is tame by her standards too. What had me break it off was her drinking, physical abuse, and complete neglect. As I found her fabricating stories about me to her friends or family to make me look like a monster. I picked up everything I could and moved back to PA. A month later, Opie came in with an update and said, hey folks, I figured I'd update you all on the conclusion to that stupid saga from before. I did indeed get my property back, and the ex became cooperative and very strangely submissive, rather than spiteful. I'm willing to bet it was because of her father, but then again I'm not 100% sure. Maybe buried under all that untreated BPD and narcissism is the girl I thought I married. Though I won't hold my breath. This and a previous issue we ran into right before the mail fraud kinda soured me on trying to keep things amicable, since clearly it has no real effect. The game was still in its factory sealed wrapping, with no signs of tampering. I opened it up and everything looks to be in great shape. I contacted the father and gave him my sincere thanks. On the suggestion of some of you from the last post, I sent him a gift for doing the right thing and putting up with this squabble. So thank you for that suggestion. I have his PayPal still, so it was just cash. But the message went through, I'm sure. Do good things, get rewarded. In any case, I thought I'd treat you to some picturonis of the of the end results for stopping by, so here you go. Thanks for the help and perspective from the last post. And OP adds a little post of their goods back with a couple of little doggos in it as well. Absolute pair of beauts. But how about you guys? What would you have done in that situation? Would you have reported her immediately? Maybe you got a different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.